In this video, we're going to talk about how to run a successful political campaign. I'm going to tell you exactly what to do, how to do it. If you're serious about winning, stick with me because I got a lot to share and all of it is important. What we're going to cover here are the three big cogs in your wheel: your message, your money, how you advertise it, and then we're going to talk about some of the minor cogs in the gears of your campaign and why they have to run in sync with the big cogs. We'll leave that toward the conclusion of this, but let's dive right in with the most important task that you have in front of you as a political candidate, and that is crafting a compelling message. So voters don't know to ask the questions this way, but if they knew exactly how to ask these questions, this is what they would ask you. What makes you qualified for the job you're running for? How do I, as a voter, know that your moral code, your notions of right and wrong are in sync with mine? What are you going to do for me or my state or my country or my community? How do I know that I can trust you? What makes you better than your opponent? Your answers to those 5 questions is your campaign message. If you have a great message, if you have a better message than your competitors, if you have a better message than your opponent, things are going to go very well for you. If you have a terrible message or a message that doesn't align with the voters or a message that doesn't have much thought, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to win. Now, if it's a great message, we'll talk about what happens when you have a great one. Number one is people want to give you money, because if you're articulating a cause that is very, very important to them, and you're talking about ways to fix a problem that's causing them pain, what they tend to do, at least in the United States, is they tend to either volunteer or they take out their credit card and they give you some money, hoping that you'll put it to good use and use it to win an election. Now, that's not the only source of money in a political campaign. There are multiple ways to raise money. Here are some of the methods. Number one is you get used to the idea that if you want to run a successful campaign, you are going to have to ask people for money. Now, I know candidates have hang-ups about doing that, but they don't understand it's something fundamental. You're not asking for money for yourself. You're not asking your friends to give you money so you can go buy a new car or put an addition on your house. You're asking your friends for money to help you advance a cause. If you don't believe in your cause enough to ask other people to help you advance it, rethink what you're doing. So we'll start with the people that you already know, what we call family, relatives, and close friends. Those are the places you go first to raise the seed capital to get your campaign off the ground. If you're lucky, some of those people that you already know are going to be people of means. Now, where do you find all these people? Well, go to your mobile contact list and scroll through the contacts that you have in it. Identify people that you think are capable of giving you money, including wealthy people that you may have in your contact list. Take the time to go to your Facebook account and take a look at all the friends that you've accumulated. Chances are you're going to run and see the names of people that you forgot that you knew who may be willing to contribute to your cause. Third place is go look at your LinkedIn connections. See if you know anybody there that you've had a relationship with in the past or shared experience. That's the place to start, but it's not the end. You're never going to raise all the money you need from that group, but there are other ways to raise it. Look at people who've given to candidates that run for this office in the past, people in your community that are used to donating to political candidates. There you're going to see names of people that you need to go meet. Community leaders, stout people in your community. Go pay them a visit. Talk to them about why you're running. Ask them to consider contributing to your campaign. When they do, especially those that are people of means, you have what we call a kernel of corn. Now, what do you do with a kernel of corn if you want to make it grow? You plant it, you fertilize it, You give it plenty of water. You keep the weeds away from it. And pretty soon it sprouts, and when it's done, it grows a whole ear of corn. Look at a major well-heeled donor as a kernel of corn, because once they've given to you, you can go back to them and say, Bob, thank you for your investment. Do you know anybody else that could do what you did for me? You're in essence asking your friend Bob to open up his mobile contact list to you, and for you to collect money from people he knows that you don't. Now, Bob can help you in any number of ways. He could pick up the phone and just call his friends and say, hey, I gave to Sam, he's running for such and such. I'd like you to do the same thing. He's a great guy and he really needs your support. He could pick up the phone and do that. He could write letters to his friends and saying, I've given to Sam, this is what I gave him. I hope you'll consider doing at least half of what I did. He could email his friends and ask them to contribute to you. He could text his friends. There are lots of ways for Bob to help you. All you need to do is know which way they're most comfortable in helping you, and you can raise money that way. There are other tried and tested ways of doing this in a political campaign. Some candidates send letters to people asking for a donation, 1 to 3 pages that explain their rationale for doing it. You can raise money with digital advertising. You can raise money with Facebook advertising. You can raise money through text messages and emails. You can raise money through organized events. Cocktail parties done by a friend who invites 15 to 25 people to their house for a small dollar fundraiser from you. You can raise money with dinner parties. These are things that happen with well-heeled people, where one of your better donors invites other well-heeled donors to dinner, and you spend a couple of hours with them talking about why you want the job. And then there are celebrity events. I helped a candidate put one of those together a year ago in the state of Arkansas. Our celebrity draw was a world champion wrestler. I don't know what it was about that community in Arkansas, but they thought that was the coolest thing. And by the way, he also invited another star in Arkansas who was the quarterback of the last championship football game they had. Between those two stars, he drew 300 people to an event and raised a ton of money for his re-election campaign. All of these are ways to raise money. But my point to you is none of them are going to work well unless you're deeply involved in your fundraising effort. The third big cog in your wheel is your advertising strategy. There are lots of ways to disseminate a message to voters. The most basic and the cheapest is probably a website. Or if you're going to do a website, why make sure it's well worded, that you have flattering pictures on your website, that you have a nice looking video on your homepage, because some people prefer to learn about a candidate by watching a video instead of reading words on a page. Make it attractive. Make sure that you have your donate button at the top of your websites where people can easily find it so they can give you money quickly. That's basic advertising. But then there's also the advertising that you have to pay for. So here are a few tried and true ways to do it. We're in the digital age now. Just notice that Kamala Harris announced she's spending $350 million in the 7 swing states. She devoted $200 million of that to digital advertising. That tells you something about its importance in the way we're spending advertising political information in this day and age. Digital, Facebook, persuasion mail, text messages, emails, TV commercials, radio commercials, all are tried and true forms of disseminating political information to the voters with information they need to cast an intelligent vote for you. What you want to be looking for as you make the hard decisions on your advertising budget is what is the cheapest and most efficient way to disseminate this information to the voters that I need to vote for me. Look at every expenditure in that way, and you will have an efficient, well-spent advertising campaign. I mentioned there were some minor cogs that help move the major cogs. Just because they're minor doesn't mean they're not important. So we talked a lot about that campaign message. Now, to fine-tune that campaign message, you really need to know what is your market. It's the voters that are eligible to vote in the election in which you are running. And you need to know a lot about those people. You need to know their partisan affiliation. You need to know their demographics. You need to know their voting history. You need to know the age brackets of people who live in your jurisdiction, their ethnicity, their race, their value of their home, whether they have children in their household, how many seniors you have in your community that may be concerned or have special concerns. You need to know the major employers in your district, the kind of wages they pay. All of this is critically important information as you fine-tune your campaign message. Data is important. If you have no idea how to get this data, leave your question in the comment box and I'll tell you where to go get it. Another important cog in your wheel is your support that you can generate among influential people and opinion leaders. Why do you need those people? It's because they have a following. They are the kind of people who, when they speak, other people listen. Every community has people like that. There are influencers. Who are they? Or they are the people who have a large following on social media. Or there are people who are known for speaking truth in certain situations about politics and political candidates. You want people like that in your corner. You want people who can connect you to other contributors. Nobody ever wins a campaign without the help of other people. And I'll be really truthful about it. There are voters in your community. Some are more important than others. Who are those who are more important? It is those that are opinion leaders and influencers. You don't have to have all of them, but it's really hard to win an election if you don't have any of them. Now, I'm about to say the most important thing that I've said in this entire video. If this is your first time running, do not try and do all of this by yourself. Get some help. You start by talking to people who've run in your jurisdiction before and seeking their advice. What kind of problems they hear that people talking about. What they did well in their campaign and what they could have done better. Get some advice from people who've been on the ground and have been successful at it. They know better how to do it right than people who've never run before or people who ran and got their fanny beat. That's the place to start. If you find that you cannot get all of the information from them to follow and do the steps I have outlined in this video, you are free to contact me. I will take a look at your situation. I'll be happy to talk to you. There is no charge for the call. I will try and find you some help, or maybe we can figure out a way that I can help you. I take calls like that every week. I set aside time each and every week to talk to people who are running for office. I am not the only consultant in this world. There are other people who do what I do, who do it well. So I may see a situation where I might refer you to someone else who could help you in a particular situation. My point here is you cannot possibly know everything you need to know about running a successful campaign on your first try. So don't try it. Bring in other people who've been there, done that, so that you don't waste time making mistakes. I'm also going to mention one more time that book that I offered at the beginning of this video, The 12 Essential Steps to Preparing for a Political Campaign. They are crucial to your success. Get that book and read it.